Who is the creator of the legendary franchise Star Wars? Today I will be sharing with you information about the one and only George Lucas. I'll be sharing with you three main parts of George Lucas's life and his film career. George Lucas was raised in Modesto, California, and started off as a race car driver, believe it or not. Lucas eventually, at this age, very young age, Lucas attended the University of Southern California's film school. George Lucas wrote and produced his first film, named THX 1138, and his second film, which a lot of people know as American Graffiti. Now, I will elaborate on Lucas's most memorable filmographies, his most memorable films that he's created within his career. I think everybody knows what this is, which is Star Wars. Now, as stated by Camilla Paglia, George Lucas is the greatest artist of all time. No one has closed the gap between art and technology more successfully than George Lucas. In his epochal six-film Star Wars saga, he fused ancient hero legends from East and West with futuristic science fiction and created characters who have entered the dream lives of millions. So George Lucas originally started off with Fox Searchlight Studios, who actually finally invested in George Lucas as he produced his first film, Star Wars, originally named just Star Wars, later known as Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, which you can see here. Then his second film, The Empire Strikes Back, third film, Return of the Jedi. He eventually jumped into another film franchise with Steven Spielberg, which is Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. But he started off with Star Wars, then moved to Indiana Jones. And Lucas actually helped create Lucasfilm, LucasArts, Magic Studios, Industrial Light, THX. He even co-developed Pixar, which is a really big deal, as you guys know, with Disney and Pixar. Lastly, I will segue into Lucas's later works and personal life. According to Richard Ravelli, the author of George Lucas' Out of Love, Divorce, Darkness, and Reception of Origin of PG-13, the effects of the Lucas' marriage disillusion on Lucasfilm as a business is not, however, the most often noted aspect of his film biography and history. More has been made of the indirect role that the divorce had in the origination of the PG-13 movie rating in 1984. So, a lot of people blame his divorce on his last Star Wars movie that he had produced before he moved on to the prequels, which was episode 1, 2, and 3, which we'll get into later. A lot of people say his divorce had a lot to do with how that movie turned out. I thought the movie was fantastic, but some people didn't. Lastly, I will segue into Lucas's final movies that he had put out, which is Star Wars Episode 1, 2, and 3, which I talked about before. Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Now, George Lucas's divorce actually kind of segued him into his new marriage with his wife, Melody Hobson, in 2013. Lucas has left a lasting impact on American film and pop culture. George Lucas sold the Star Wars franchise to Disney, actually. And now they own the franchise, and the majority of his companies, Pixar, THX Sound, which we've all heard the at the beginning of the movies back in the 80s and 90s, that's all THX. So that was all done by George Lucas. And according to Brian Curtis, author of George Lucas is ready to roll the credits. Lucas has decided to devote the rest of his life to what synesthetes in the 1970s used to call personal films. They'll be in small scope, esoteric in subject, screened mostly in art houses. So George Lucas has been working on small projects, and that's pretty much what he's doing now. Um, George Lucas has, because of George Lucas and his investment into technology and the science of filmmaking, we have been able to cross over to a new breed of movies. Thank you.